Now, if the song were to end there, it would make my task much easier as a teacher on this day, but it doesn't, because twice it says that the Lord will keep us from harm. That first we'll be kept from the harm of the sun. In the desert, no harm could be more devastating than the sun, so he'll keep us from that harm. But it's not just the harm of the sun. Then the writer goes on to add that he's going to keep us from all harm. And I think maybe if you're like me, it's here that some of us struggle, because we're like, the Lord who watches over us never slumbers nor sleeps. Okay, yes, believe that with faith. He'll be with us in the midst of great evils. Yes, of course, but keeping us from all harm? The rest of the Bible has a bone to pick with that proclamation. You don't flip a page without seeing people encountering great harm, promises of war and doom and sickness and poverty and natural disaster. For goodness sakes, we're in the season of Lent, which is here to remind us that God himself wasn't kept from all harm. He suffered horribly. So what do we do with this? And for that matter, what do we do with any places in Scripture that make claims like this, God keeping us from all harm? I'll give you a couple of ways to think about this. First of all, we need to remember when we read literature of any kind, but especially the Bible, we need to remember the kind of literature that we're reading. That one of the fundamental rules when reading and studying is to know the genre and to read it accordingly. And in this case, we're reading a poem. Right? We know that poems, they're not written like textbooks. They're not written like science books. They're not written like history books. That poets are they use words and metaphor and imagery to create effect within us. We need to read them as the poet intended. That if we read these words with this wooden literalism, and like we're reading a science textbook, for example, we miss what the poet is trying to do and what he's trying to create in us. In this case, the poet is rallying the people to have faith, to not be afraid. That as they make their way through these mountains and the terrors that lurk within, they're using these grand expressions to evoke belief around how deep and wide and profound the care of God truly is.